Uh, I've been thinking about the state of the world of late in a personal capacity, also in the capacity of being a human being who's looking at things very sensitively at times. Uh, there are conflicts between countries, between companies, between ideologies, uh, between people of this race and that caste and this country and that country. As a meditator, I have always been caught up in taking sides at times and trying to calm myself down and look at things in various ways. And I have the good fortune today to speak to another meditator who's been a teacher for a long time. Welcome, Beth Upton, to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Uh, what are your thoughts on the state of the world today? Being a teacher of meditation and having been a meditator yourself for so many years, how do you look at the uh, chaos, for want of a better term?
I try to think about where I can be useful rather than think too much about many things that are outside of my control. According to the teachings of the Buddha, we can expect the world to be chaos, no? We can expect the world to be full of suffering. There's nothing new here, there's nothing surprising about it. The question really is, what do we do? Our Buddhist philosophy starts from very practical, what can we actually do? So in my case, I'm lucky. I had the great fortune to meet wonderful meditation teachers when I was quite young, and I trained deeply in meditation. And so this is what I can do, is pass on this knowledge that I've gained. And what I can't do anything about, I try not to think about it too much. No?
Uh, in your own journey as a meditator, was there any point where you kind of started thinking about these things? Was there anything that led to you uh, spending a lot of time uh, searching within, as the phrase goes?
Do you mean in the years before I went to the monastery?
Yeah.
I think I was normal. Sometimes thinking about myself and my own condition, sometimes socializing with friends, wondering what I will do with my life. I don't think I was untypical in this. I had fairly standard teenage years. In my early 20s, I was doing different jobs and traveling here and there. Really, I had the good fortune to meet the Dhamma and to meet with good teachers and people who are presenting the teachings in a good way. And when I heard this, to me, I recognized it as being true. I could recognize the truth and the goodness in it. And for me, this led me to want to know more, to want to follow this path more. And the more I followed, the better it got. The Buddha said, the teachings are beautiful in the beginning, beautiful in the middle, beautiful in the end. So I was lucky to have met the Dhamma, and then the more that I pursued this, the better and better it got.
Okay. Uh, does the path change at any point of time in terms of uh, understanding or depth, uh, or are there any questions that come up? Because the practice is a very solo practice, as I've understood from my own experience. Uh, Although you have a lot of co-meditators, often you can sit down in group sittings and get together, but internally it's a very individual kind of journey. So, how does one deal with this uh, constancy of effort that is required to uh, reach any particular place.
I'm not sure I understand the question. Is the question about making continual effort, or you said something about has
Yeah.
anything changed? What's the question?
So the idea is that since there is individual effort involved, uh, does at any point one feel disheartened or find it too difficult or overwhelming? Considering the state of the world at times, the other challenges stay what they are, whether those are familial or financial or any other such.
Again, I think we can expect there to be challenges along the way. I don't think the teaching of the Buddha was ever like meditate and then your life will just be easy. Like this isn't the teaching, this isn't what we can expect. We can expect life to continually throw us obstacles and challenges. And it's part of our work in the Dhamma to continually learn how to overcome those challenges with wisdom. For me and for everybody, this forms a normal part of our path. I'm
Okay.
not sure if I've answered your question though.
Partly you have, and the rest of the question is about the internal journey and the challenges that brings up, because our tendencies seem to uh, overpower us at times, or we do not find ourselves equipped enough. In those cases, how do you continue your path, and how do you ensure that the consistency of your goal, if there is any, as well as your effort stays uh, true to the path?
Again, I think we can't expect that we start a meditation path and then just every meditation is easy and every challenge we know how to face. Would be very, very naive. We're not the Buddha in this picture. We come in as beginners with our faculties not yet strong, with many things to learn and grow. So we can expect to fall down again and again. We can expect many, many times even within one day to not be strong enough in ourselves. And we go again and we get stronger and stronger and stronger, right? This is why it's called a practice, because we need to practice again and again. And this is our Dhamma path. Our Dhamma path isn't to magically be wise enough in every moment, to magically always feel like we want to do the right thing. Our Dhamma path is to practice.
Yeah. So, do you think yesterday I read somewhere uh, that everybody seeks the peaceful Buddha the moment they start their meditation path? Uh, of course, it was a provocative kind of post, and it said that I look for the restless Buddha, the one that I relate to much better when I have started and I see a lot of challenges. How do you look at that point of view?
Again, I'm not sure I understand the question, but I think it's normal that we want to feel understood in our practice. So we want to know that the kinds of challenges that I face are the kinds of challenges that other people have also faced. Or maybe the Buddha didn't have this challenge after he was fully enlightened, but at some point along his journey, maybe he also faced this challenge that I face. This need for empathy and to feel related to others is part of our refuge, no? This is why the Buddha said that we need Sangha, we need community, we need to be surrounded by wise friends. It's not meant that we walk this path alone.
Can you tell us a little about when you picked up the robe and your experiences about those? Because it must have been a different journey from the one that you had earlier.
To me, it felt like a really natural transition to ordain. I was 24 when I arrived at the monastery. I was 25 or 25 maybe when I arrived at the monastery and when I ordained. And I really didn't have much to lose. I arrived there and it was a beautiful place, a wonderful community, great teachers. I wanted to stay for a long time. Most of the community were ordained. So to me, it felt like a very natural step. And at that time, not a particularly big change. take the robes. I was already living in the monastery for some months, so it was no big change for me to stop using money. I was already not eating dinner, no need to listen to entertainment. So the precepts were easy for me to keep at that time, and not caring much about what I wear, So really the main thing was we shave our heads when we ordain. And I liked it very much. I loved having my head shaved. It was very easy.
Hmm. So I'll tell you the context that I'm coming there from. So while your practical ease into being a nun happened because of your particular circumstances, were you not worldly minded or material minded before the entire journey, or what was it that kind of uh, piqued your curiosity to walk down a path which is not taken up by most? So, was there any kind of pressure of family or friends that why are you going down this path, or any such thing at all that happened?
You asked me a few different questions there in one question. So, no, there wasn't any particular pressure from my family or friends. And I don't think I was particularly materially minded, but I also wasn't particularly not materially minded either. I was just young and I had no fixed ideas about what I was going to do with the next chapter of my life. And I had the really good fortune to meet great teachers, right? And so to me, this seemed like an obvious choice to stay and learn what they had to teach me.
Um, so, what prompted you to give up the robe and take up teaching uh, as a lay person? Would you tell us something about that?
Yeah, so I'd been ordained for 10 years. And like I said, I had wonderful teachers. I trained mostly in a tradition called Pa'al. And the way that tradition works is there's sort of like a curriculum of meditation methods that we train in. Many, many different types of samatha and vipassana practice. And so after 10 years, one part of my decision was I had completed that curriculum. So I could have stayed in that tradition and continued to do these meditations again and again. But there was nothing new on the training menu for me having completed this curriculum. At the same time, I noticed that although my meditation was deep, it was relatively fragile in that if there was a disturbance, a distraction, if I had to leave the monastery, if I had to have a difficult conversation, then it would destabilize my meditation. And so I wanted to make my meditation more resilient and integrate it with more challenges of life so that I was stronger in myself. I also, it was the right time for me to start sharing some of what I had learned with others. And there are already many teachers in Myanmar and in Buddhist Asia. It felt more appropriate for me to start sharing this with people from my own culture. But quickly I realized that if I were to share this with people from my own culture, I needed to present the teachings in a way that was resonant with the culture. I think the way that I teach is very loyal to the way that I was taught, but in little things, in the way that we sit, in the way that we use humor, in the way that we present things, I felt the need to do it in a way that had a little bit less of a Burmese flavor about it, in a way that, yeah, was more resonant with the culture that I had come from. And I didn't want to misrepresent the tradition in this. I didn't want to feel like I was disrespecting the tradition that I trained in by being more Western in my presentation. So I thought it's better if I exit this tradition so that I'm not, in little ways that I behave, misrepresenting them. And I can relax and I can be myself and I can teach in a way that is more natural to me. So that's what I did. And I'm still close and friendly with the Part Art community in the tradition that I trained in. And I can relax more into teaching in a way that feels natural to me.
What are the changes that you found in yourself over a period of many years that you've been meditating? Have there been any stages of understanding or something that you can share, obviously, on camera, uh, that kind of felt far more fulfilling as the path went along? You mentioned a couple of times that you are grateful that you got the Dhamma. Uh, could you help us explain to maybe non-Buddhist audiences uh, how and what were the changes that convinced you that this was the path for you and you continued for so many years as you have?
Many things. No, the Dhamma brings many gifts. We can't answer this question in brief. For me, really, my best friend is the truth. When I'm with the truth, everything is okay. Sometimes the truth is painful for a little while, but ultimately the truth is a medicine. So when I found the Dhamma, this is what I recognized. This is truth. And it's verifiable truth. It's experience. We can experience this truth. We can check if it's true. And this is what I loved and still love about the Dhamma the most. And the depth and the subtlety of truth that we can find when we come into a deep meditation practice. The other side is we notice that we suffer less. We notice that we suffer less. All of us have huge amounts of suffering to overcome in the life. So it would be disingenuous to say that I don't suffer at all. I suffer every day from many things still, a bit too hot, a bit too cold, a bit too hungry, you know. But through this practice, we learn to suffer less and less in many ways. And this is what also keeps me on the Dhamma path.
Very often on the path, and the Buddha's teachings remind us that having good friends is very important to this journey. How has your experience been about good friendships, and what does good friendship mean to start with?
Well, the Buddha is the ultimate good friend, right? And when the Buddha gave this teaching to Ananda, he was speaking about the Buddha as the good friend, or anybody who is embodying the Dhamma as fully as possible. We have the Buddha as the ultimate good friend. Arahants, I guess, would be the next best type of friend. I was very lucky in my teachers. Again, they were excellent, wise friendship for me. And I was able to spend 10 years of my life with them. This is a huge gift, huge, huge gift. And aside from my teachers, I've had a life surrounded by meditators, other monastic friends, deep practitioners. And now I'm teaching and leading a community. I also have wise friendship in that community, in my students, in our service team, in the teaching assistants I work with. We keep each other on track. They also hold me accountable. I wouldn't be able to go too far off the Dhamma path, before the whole community started to notice. And they support me and encourage me also in many ways.
Wonderful. One of the random questions that comes to me as of now is uh, being a teacher and leading students to understanding meditation. Are there times where you do not get the answer yourself, or there are doubts about how to uh, go about clarifying to a particular student? Do those kind of issues crop up at all, or there is no such thing?
Only the Buddha had the ability to know the perfect instruction for everybody at every time. Even Sariputta, even Mahamoggallana, they didn't have this ability. So I don't pretend that I have this ability of the Buddha to always know the perfect thing for everybody at every time. but I do know what the right direction is.
Okay.
I do know if people are going towards that right direction or away from it. As for the details, I listen. I listen, and if I don't understand, then I will ask them again until I feel like I understand them. I feel like I understand the student, and hopefully also they feel understood. And in this way, we're on the same team. Sometimes we need some trial and error. Okay, I I understand you, and you feel understood. Let's try this. We'll see what happens. And in this way, we are working together.
Uh, since you are in the public eye, at times due to your role as a teacher, or maybe you go as a speaker and talk to hundreds of people, uh, what does it feel like being on stage? So this question comes from the idea of public speaking or the nature of talking to a lot of people. You did mention that your alignment with the truth sees you through everything. How do you ensure that the moment doesn't get overwhelming when you are in the public eye, say on a public platform or some such?
I don't experience these things as overwhelming. This isn't this doesn't bring up overwhelm in me. But sometimes when I'm speaking with a group, it's not always clear to me how to say the thing that is the most useful for the whole group. So like I said, when I'm working with people one-on-one, I can listen and I can attune and I can check. Are we on the same page? Is what I'm saying really useful for you? And in this way, I can gauge how helpful I'm being. Sometimes when we speak to a big group, we can't do that in the same way. We have to hope that what we are saying is being understood by most of the people in the room, because there isn't the context to check with everybody if they are really on board with what you're saying, or if there are things that they're not understanding. This is something about speaking with a big group that I don't like so much. At the same time, if we are speaking the Dhamma, then we need to have a trust in its goodness. And maybe not everybody is ready to hear it. Maybe something that of the Dharma they might remember it a long time from now and think, oh, but at least we can trust that it won't be dangerous or harmful.
Wonderful. Uh, in your experience, uh, what are the qualities that a meditator ought to have uh, to get good results consistently?
Wise friends. Also, like I said, we can't expect that we will get all the time good results. I don't know any meditator who practice like that. This is very naive hope. And the meditator who is wanting this will just be disappointed again and again. Our aim as meditators isn't to get consistently good results, it's to consistently put in good causes. It means, are we doing the right thing? Are we doing the right thing? Are we doing the right thing? Whether we get the result that we want is not within our control. But if we are surrounded with wise friends, this will be the cause, this will be the condition for us to keep on putting in good causes, cultivating wholesome states.
Do you still attend retreats yourself, and how do you go about it in that sense? As a teacher, how do you consistently ensure that uh, you're not losing out on by taking responsibility for others, that you do not lose sense of the efforts that you need to take for yourself? Is there any particular way that you approach this, or is there any discipline that you follow?
I don't follow discipline. No, I don't find discipline a helpful way to keep myself on track. Like rules. I don't find this helpful. I try to be responsive to the actual condition. And I'm very lucky that I'm holding responsibility for a wonderful group of people, and they also want the best for me. So this helps. And because I genuinely care about them a lot, I want to do a good job. So if I notice that I'm not able to do my work in the way that I would like to, maybe I'm a bit too tired, I'm a bit too impatient, for example, then this registers in my conscience. I don't need discipline. I just need to listen to my heart. And I understand, okay, I need more time for myself now. And I found that my community have been really supportive. I take time for retreat every year, but I'm going to take the whole of the year of 2027 for personal retreat. And my community have been very supportive.
Okay. How do you ensure that while there is a lot of care and camaraderie and friendship with fellow meditators, that undue attachments and bonds do not form? Is there any way that can be explained to people outside the practitioners of Dhamma?
Again, we are not the Buddha in this picture. So it is not our aim that we never become attached to other people within our Sangha. This is naive and idealistic. This is like saying, how do you make sure that every meditation is the perfect meditation? We are human in this picture, no? And it forms part of our human nature that we want to rely on other people and on certain things along the way. We all need this. We need a suitable place to practice. We don't want our house to burn down. We're attached to it. We want this body to be healthy. We don't want it to get sick and die. We're attached to it. We don't want our friends to leave us. We want their love and support. We're attached to it. And this is adaptive for a certain part of our path. There's nothing wrong with this. This is our humanness. We need to honor it. The Buddha described it like a raft, right? We use a raft to cross the river. We put it down when it's time. And for most of us, it's not yet time for us to put down our attachments to our wise friends. When I was learning from my teachers, I was deeply attached to them. For very good reason, because they were keeping me going. It wasn't the right time for me to put down this raft. I was holding on to it. So I don't see a problem with people having some attachment to wise friends in the Sangha. There will be the time to put down those attachments, but maybe for a lot of people, it's not yet the time.
Okay. I was going through some of the notes about you on the internet, and there was one particular episode that fascinated me, that you went to a place where there were certain caves and a lot of, I think the words used were hippie culture, if I'm not mistaken. Uh,
What's
uh, there were people who were living the life, and a kind of hippie culture kind of pervaded that environment for a little while, if I understood it correctly. And they allowed you to join them in terms of you could sit there and meditate, and there were caves of sorts. Uh, could you tell us some stories, inspiring stories, because all of them over a period of time started joining you and learning meditation, or most of them actually. That's what I took from the what I read.
Yeah, the caves are still there. I was just down there a couple of months ago visiting some of my friends who are still there, but we don't have a meditation community there anymore.
Oh, okay.
I left and started leading retreats in other places. And because we don't own the caves are public. So it became difficult for us to maintain our presence there because when we leave, other people can just move into the caves. So
Yeah.
meditation presence there anymore, but I do still have friends who are living in those caves. And I was just looking for a place to meditate and was in southern Spain looking for places that I could sleep. And I found those caves and became friends with the other people who were also living there. I was meditating at the time. I was still a nun, I was still ordained. And it took them a little while to become interested in what I was doing, but eventually they started to trust me and we like each other and they started to meditate. Some of them could meditate really well. One of my friends especially could meditate very deeply there. His name was Harold. He died later of cancer. And then my monastic friends found out that I was living in these caves and also wanted to come along and join me. So quite a few of my friends have also stayed at those caves over the years.
Okay. There is a correlation between a word that you use here, the word trust, and the first question I asked about the state of the world. So, would you be able to talk a bit about trust in today's world and how you see it as a practitioner of, if I were to loosely use the term, calming processes?
Calming what, sorry?
Processes. If meditation was seen as a calming process or calming down, uh, how would you see the word trust vis-a-vis the world as it is today?
I don't think being calm has much to do with trust at all. There's lots of times where, lots of examples I can think of where somebody being calm would make me trust them less, right? Being calm is not always the wise or appropriate response. What gains us trust is being honest, speaking the truth, acting in accordance with the truth, being honest, acting in integrity. Also correcting our mistakes. If we are to transgress the truth, transgress our conscience, if we are to indulge our defilements, that we correct it afterwards. This is what builds trust. That we do what we say we will do. We keep our word. We show up with authenticity, integrity, transparency. This is what builds trust, not being calm.
Uh, was there any time that discipline helped you? Because you did mention that and now you do not look at discipline in the same manner. But was there a time in the beginning of your practice that you thought discipline was a good thing to have, or have you always felt that one needs to be more in the moment and responsive right from the beginning?
There was a time early in my practice where I was using a lot of discipline, but not because I thought it was good, just because I was immature. I was immature and naive and very enthusiastic and copying the bad logic that I had learned at school. Like if you just do more hours, you'll get a quicker result, this kind of thing. But this was just an immaturity on my part. I was young and I didn't really know, I didn't have a lot of skill as a meditator yet. But quickly I learned that this doesn't work. You know? If it was that easy, we'd have far more fully enlightened people in the world. We don't get to our goal just by writing out a schedule and putting in more hours. The Dhamma is far more complex than that. People are far more complex than that. What we need is like I said, a responsiveness and an attunement, moment to moment. What needs to be done now? What needs to be done now? What needs to be done now? And so I corrected myself. If we lead with discipline, at some point we get a rebellion. It's a very weak form of motivation. At some point we will get a rebellion. You have to pay back this debt.
Is there a goal that you're moving towards, or have you kept it loose and responsive in the larger sense of the term as well? While momentary, uh, you are doing things as per the moment comes up, but are you also looking at the larger scale of life, or looking forward to something?
Yeah,
You,
we need to know what is our North Star, which direction are we headed? But in the Dhamma, this is very clear. We have the remainderless ending of all suffering. There's no point to go in any other direction, right? This is like the top of the mountain, and we know we are going up. But if we go up this way, or this way, or this way, or this way, this needs a responsiveness to the condition. Because maybe we think, just to take a very easy example, maybe we think, okay, my next step up the mountain is I will be in silent retreat for 1 month, right? This sounds like a great step up the mountain. We think, okay, I will cut everything, all of my responsibilities. I will be very disciplined. I will do 1 month. I won't speak to anybody. But then let's say the body gets badly sick. Or let's say my father gets badly sick. Do I stick to my discipline and, okay, let my father die? He can do without me. No, of course not. Well, I'll just let my body suffer. Of course not, right? We need to be flexible and attend to the moment. And so this discipline is, like I said, it's a very weak, I think, relatively immature form of motivation. We use it when our wisdom isn't enough to tell us what actually needs to be done moment to moment. But we know what the direction is, right? What is our next best step? We need to keep on checking.
yeah. What has been the response of people who've known you for a long time? So friends and family, whoever have been knowing you since your say childhood or something like that, they've seen your journey. How do they respond to you uh, these days, having seen what your journey has been?
In the Dhamma, everything is gradual. We don't go to bed on Monday and wake up on Tuesday a completely different person. All of the changes are gradual. For the people who have known me for many years or decades, to them it's normal because they've seen me gradually change. The same as I've seen them gradually change as they have chosen their own path through life. And these people that have known me for so long, since before I was ordained, these people are rare. You get to witness the whole life, right? And I feel grateful that I have those people in my life and that we still have love for each other.
Uh, when you start with absolute non-meditators, what is it that you kind of recommend to them in terms of starting with? Is there a particular way that you have, or is it on a case-to-case basis altogether?
It's quite rare that I speak to somebody who has never meditated before. It's quite rare. It doesn't happen too often. Usually people have at least tried a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Maybe they've listened to some guided meditations off an app, or they've done a Goenka retreat or something, right? And usually I will start with this little bit of experience they haven't asked them what worked for you, what didn't work for you, what did you enjoy, what felt good, what felt difficult. We'll take it from there.
Okay. Uh, I think I have run out of questions. I have to admit. Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right, all right, we can finish here. Yeah, thank you for your questions. It was lovely speaking with you.
Yes, and thank you for your time and answering all these questions. Since I actually make them up on the spot, sometimes I may not be as clear as I would want to be. But thank you for being patient and answering them so lovely.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I wish you the best in your work.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye. Namaste.